Peace everyone, Unmask here, and welcome back once again to Inktober. This is my third year doing Inktober, and this year I decided to do something a little different than follow the prompts. So the last couple years I just followed the prompts, but this year, since we've grown such a beautiful family here on YouTube and Facebook, I have decided to draw all of you as chibis, and I have a really big piece of paper. You can't really see it right now, but it's pretty much taking up almost my whole desk. And so I'm just going to draw us all throughout the month, just one big family on this piece of paper. I'm going to do the line art, of course. So I have my pencil and I have my pens that I'll be using. This is, aside from an eraser, this is all I'll be using for the entire month. I do have those supplies listed in the description if you want to know exactly what I'm using. But that is the plan. And if you are not yet a member of the Unmask family, I have a link for that in the description as well. You can certainly join and submit your picture of yourself to be chibiized, if I can make up such a word, and then be a part of the family collage here. I'm going to try to do at least two of you a day for the entirety of Inktober, so that could be around 60-ish people on this piece of paper. So I'm going to try to squeeze everybody in and draw as many of you as possible. But for today, I am going to just start with myself and, of course, Nugget and Noodle. So that's where I'm going to begin. I did some sketches earlier today, coming up with just really rough sketch ideas. There's a few different versions of chibis, and I'm going to be doing 2 head-high chibis, so that's going to be the proportion. And I'm going to, let's see here, I'm going to put me like right here, so just make sure I'm on there. And yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and start sketching here with my pencil, and try to say hello to as many of you as I can. Hello Amanda, Marcy, Shiny, Fitma, Alicia, Jules, KR21, Beth Sneaks. Thank you, Alicia. I'm glad you liked the haircut. Thank you guys so much for coming by and hanging out. Make sure you give the live stream a thumbs up for me, so we can please the YouTube algorithm gods. And then don't forget to give the live stream a share so we can grow the family. And of course, if you guys have any questions for me, I would be happy to take on your questions, so don't hesitate to ask. I'm just going to be sketching in kind of the skeleton of myself here. My chibi skeleton. Hello Gabriella, Alex, Tessa, Sandri, Mecca. I'm glad you were able to make it to a live stream. Yeah, I'm going to be doing the Inktober live streams at different times every day, and when this live stream ends, I will set up tomorrow's live stream. So I'll be live streaming every day this month, and for those of you that support me over on Patreon, I'll also be continuing the Patreon live streams. So I'll be doing a lot of live streaming this month. So yeah. Oh, you know what? I think those eyes are too high. Hello Paula, first time. Well, welcome to the live stream. I appreciate you coming by. I hope you have some fun and meet some friends. I mean, For a lot of you, you might have come across my channel from last year's live stream, and I know many of you have come across my channel from the Inktober live streams from 2 years ago. So I remember, I remember the names, and we've definitely grown a lot since then. The family has gotten very big. Besides like the basic stuff like find the shape and volume, do you have any tips on drawing hair? The tips on drawing hair, I would say hair is one of those things that even to this day, when you're coming up with your own kind of hair, like not using a reference or whatever, I would say just try to keep things really loose in the beginning, and scribble a bunch of lines, and then pick and choose which lines you kind of like the look of, and strengthen those lines until you start to get the kind of shape that you want. And then I would say from there, that's going to give you a good jumping off point. But hair is just one of those things that is just so hard when you're starting off and all of that. Where to find the prompts? You can just Google them. Yeah. Today's, speaking of which, I'm glad you brought that up. So today's prompt is ring. And, I'm not following the prompt or anything, but one of the other things that I wanted to mention is that in the Unmask Family Facebook page, link is in the description for that. I will be sharing everybody's Inktober pieces. So whatever you do for Inktober today, if you post it on the thread on the Facebook page, I'll share that at the beginning of tomorrow's live stream, and then I'll do that for each month. Yeah, so make sure you do that. Oh, hello, Sally. Good to see ya. Agila, Steve. Grandpa Steve is in the house, everyone. How could I miss out on someone drawing chibis? I just slept in a lot in the morning since I woke up late. Well, I'm glad you're here. You know what? I don't think my left ear needs to be visible. I still think my eyes are a little high. I'm not satisfied with that. Let's try this again, shall we? Let's just lower those eyes a little bit. There we go. I think that's better. Oh, hello, Brenda. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And welcome, Stacy, as well. I'm sorry if I miss anybody coming into the chat. I'm trying to draw, so I might miss one or two of you. So I'll just apologize in advance. Let me bring this down a little bit so you can see it better. This is going to be Nugget here, sliming up my back. For those of you that might not know who Nugget is the family pet. He has been around for a while. Everybody loves Nugget. Everybody's favorite slug. Good morning, Barbara. Hello, Wicked. Oh, thank you, Deborah. I'm gonna try to make the chibis as cute as possible. I'm gonna have a little Noodle. So Noodle is the other family pet, and he is a worm. Let's see here. This. So do you guys have any questions for me? You can ask your questions. I like questions, okay? I do. I love questions. I'll do my best not to miss any of them. Sneaks, are you referring to my wife or are you referring to Anna? Marcy, you know Nugget, but you don't know Noodle. Well, Noodle, he hasn't made much made much entrance into the stories of the adventures of Nugget, but he is Nugget's best friend. We all met Noodle last year, so Noodle joined the family last year. And then I also sculpted Noodle. Actually, I should go grab the sculptures. How is your hunting for a house going? Oh, Tessa, didn't you know I already bought a house? Yes, Sneaks. My wife's name is Anna, so Anna. I don't know if she'll be. I don't know if she'll be joining me for any of the Inktobers to say hello. Probably, but I can't guarantee it. We'll just have to wait and see if she feels up to it at all. Any tips on using ink? Just keep using them. I've been doing inkings for a really, really long time, and one of the things that I can say is that it takes time to develop a steady hand, and developing a steady hand is probably the most important aspect of whether or not you like the outcome. So just be patient with yourself. It takes time to develop the fine motor skills in your hands to make everything smooth. And so yeah, you can't rush, and you just gotta keep practicing. I mean, that's what it is that makes inking difficult, is that there's no real shortcuts to mastering it. You just gotta keep doing it. Have I ever done any pointillism? I have done pointillism really, really long time ago in the past. Not particularly a fan of it, but I use what is the technique. Stippling is also just another way of describing pointillism. And I use that technique a lot, but I don't do like full-on pointillism pieces. And it's probably been well over a decade, probably about 15 years since I've done a pointillism anything. Something I never asked. I know you got a degree in what level in particular of math did you reach? I'm like calculus or no, calculus. You have to finish calculus before you can even start getting a degree in math. So I had a bunch of theoretical math stuff. Like I had modern geometry, which is nothing but proofs of shapes. So it's like analyzing different shapes and understanding how angles work, and you have to use like really just a couple facts to prove something about another shape. That's kind of the easiest way I can describe it. And then I had number theory, which is essentially like code breaking, kind of. Like it has a lot to do with like algorithms and computer science. That's where it's used a lot, like internet security. And then I also had, if I can even remember the name, it's modern algebra, which is very similar to modern geometry, except significantly harder. And it's all about like proving things about numbers. It's really hard to describe in a way that you would understand. But think of it like this: like you say you want to prove a number is irrational, so that means that it can't be expressed as a fraction. You have to use concepts about numbers in order to prove it, and it's just it's too hard to describe. It's too hard to describe. Let's just say if you're getting your degree, if you're getting your bachelor's in math, most of the time you're not doing calculations. You're just doing theorems and proofs. So, yeah. That's a fun question. Yeah, well, trigonometry is a prerequisite to calculus, so you can't do calculus without knowing trigonometry. All right, I think I can, it's a little bit smaller than I think I intended to do. Oh, well, that will just give me more room later on. So I'm going to take my kneaded eraser here and just lighten up some of the lines. This will help get rid of a lot of the lesser sketched lines that I don't want to show up anyway. And now I can start fine-tuning my lines, and then I can get to the inking part. What do you have a degree in? I have a degree in mathematics. Before I became an artist, well, I was always an artist, but before I became a professional artist, I was going to be a high school math teacher. And am I a completely self-taught artist? I mean, as far as like what I do, I've never taken any like formal training in order to do it. I have taken a painting class for 1 quarter. So for 10 weeks, there was a painting class that I took, and that was the first time that I used oil paint. But on a grand scale of things, it wasn't really, I don't know, I guess it wasn't really an art class. It was just kind of learning oil paint. So I mean, it didn't teach me how to draw people, or I don't even know. Yeah. So it was that. So I'm just going to clean up my lines here a bit. You guys got any other questions for me? Do I have any tips on drawing chibi? What I would do, like if you're not used to the style, then what I would do is just Google chibis and find a particular style that you like the way that it looks, and copy it, but don't trace what it is. Instead, try to break it down into the shapes that create it. So find the style that you like. For instance, I'm doing a 2 head high proportion. There's 3 head high as well. I think you go outside of chibi if you go more than 3 heads. So what that means is my head is the same size as my body, and so there's 3 and 2, and then there's just a bunch of different variations of the way they make hands look or the way they do feet. And I mean, of course, you have the freedom to come up with whatever you want, as far as that goes. But yeah, that's what I would do. So I think I saw a question. When did I discover chibis? I don't have any idea. I feel like I always knew about them. I got into manga when I was in high school, when I was in 9th grade, and that's what got me into drawing the style that I draw right now, which includes chibis. Because chibis are used in manga to occasionally to represent a super characterized character in a particular what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. They're used sometimes to display a certain emotion because they can, obviously they're distorted in a way that you can emphasize certain things differently. And so just seeing them through there, I guess, I honestly, I really don't know. I never thought about that before. I love them. I like the super characterization of it, and just the cuteness factor. I mean, everybody's cute as a chibi, so I don't know. Do I have a current challenge for yourself at the moment, such as the getting up at 5 o'clock thing you did a few months ago? Oh, Tessa, I like that question. Well, I still get up at 5 o'clock, although the past couple days I've had to sleep a little bit extra. Today I woke up at 5, and then I just didn't feel good. Like I felt like I was getting a cold or something, and I was like, oh no. I was really worried because I streamed earlier as well. I did the Patreon stream earlier, and so I was a little bit concerned. So I decided to sleep in till 6, and so I didn't quite get up at 5 today. But I still do that, and I still read. I don't know. I read probably like 3 or 4 hours today, but. So the challenges that I've been doing, if for those of you that don't know, there was a few different challenges after the month where my wife and I went like 100% unprocessed whatever stuff, no wheat and junk or whatever. But and then what was it? Then it was the 5 o'clock thing and reading, and those habits have kind of just stuck with me, and I that's the reason that I did it. But currently, I don't have any new challenges except for Inktober. I think for the month of October, I think Inktober live streams is enough of a challenge. I don't need to go beyond that. What got you to take such a different path career-wise? Have you been interested in art when you were younger? Yes, when I was like really into drawing in high school, I drew nothing but anime style stuff. That's the kind of art that I gravitated towards, and I consider that influence to be really significant in my art life, and that's why my signature is a Gagouan stamp, which is the way Japanese artists sign their work. Because I was heavily influenced by Japanese art, similar to Van Gogh. Actually, Van Gogh was heavily inspired by Japanese woodblock paintings, and so I kind of just I use that to just signify the respect, I guess. But what I wanted to be in high school, I wanted to be a character development artist for like video games. I had no idea how to do that, and every time I don't know if I ever talked to anybody about it. I guess I never really tried because it would have probably required college, and college was not an option for me when I graduated high school. First off, I barely graduated high school. Okay, I was working a full-time job when I was my senior year of high school, and it nearly cost me my graduation. But fortunately, I did graduate. But right after I graduated is when I joined the military. And I would say joining the military is probably what changed my outcome the most. So I ended up, doing that for 4 years. And then after I got out, I went straight to college. Just the experience changed me in a way that I learned the importance of my education. And so because of that, I ended up going to college, and I knew at that point I was still drawing. I wasn't really doing a lot of art stuff, but once I took that painting class is when I really got back into art, and in particular oil painting and painting in general. I did some acrylic stuff too, but I was inspired by the art time lapses that you can find on YouTube. And when I saw them, I was like, I can do that. That was my thought. I was actually, if I'm going to be completely honest, which I always am, when I watched people draw and make time lapses on YouTube, my thought wasn't just, I can do that. My thought was, I can do that and I'll do it better. That was my thought. And so I just got into it, and I ended up getting this job, this commission to paint a sign for a restaurant, and that became my first time lapse. It's really awful. It's super terrible. I only had my iPad to record the video, and it was such a pain because I would have to record as much as possible, and then I'd have to drive home in order to remove the video file so that I could keep recording. So it was only like a 16 gigabyte space on my iPad, and so it would let me record maybe 2 hours of video, and that was after removing everything off of it. And so I had to keep driving back home to put the videos on my computer and then delete them from the iPad, and then go back and keep painting. And that became my first time-lapse video on this channel here. And I just kept going with it. I just kept going. And I did it. It was always a hobby because I was in college at the time, and I got accepted to University of Washington. And while I was there getting my degree in math, I had the only thing that I did was draw and do math homework. That was my life. I didn't do anything other than that. And eventually I just got better at video editing. I got better at videography, and I got better at art as well. And that's when I started working with colored pencils as well, and just a whole bunch of stuff. And that's pretty much it. Now, after I graduated, my plan was to get my master's degree in education. And so what ended up happening, and I've told this story, I know a lot of you probably heard this story before, but there's also probably a lot of you that haven't. So after I finished my bachelor's, my plan was to get my master's in education, and I applied for the master's program through University of Washington. However, I didn't get accepted for it for whatever reason. I actually know the reason was that I didn't have a lot of classroom time. I volunteered at a high school to work with the students or whatever, but they wanted me to have more time in the classroom, and I was like, well, whatever. So I would have to wait a year in order to reapply. That was it. I had to wait a whole nother year in order to apply for the master's program again. So in the meantime, I decided to come here to Poland to be with my then girlfriend, now wife. And in that year off school, I just decided to focus 100% on my art and on YouTube. And then after a year of doing that, I was like, okay, well, I think I'm just going to keep doing YouTube stuff because I'm making enough money to justify doing it for at least another year. And for each year, I just kind of set myself with a goal. I was like, for the first year, I just needed to make $300 extra a month. That's all it was. So not a huge goal, but it did take me the entire year to do that because, I didn't even have like 3,000 subscribers. So trying to make $300 a month when you don't even have 3,000 subscribers, it's a relatively difficult thing to do. So it took me a year, but I did do it. And then for the following year, I was like, well, I need to make, this much money. I think it was $500 extra a month. So not a lot more, or maybe it was 600. Maybe I wanted to double it. I can't quite remember. But either way, I met the goal, and then the rest is history because I've only been doing this for 3 years. So that's how I became an artist. Who am I drawing right now? I am drawing me. This is me. The hoodie, the pants. This is basically what I wear all the time. My booby cuff, which is the way my hair goes up in the front. That's what my wife calls it. I think it's Russian. Yeah. So I am drawing me to start off Inktober. And Nugget and Noodle, of course. I've watched your movie about painting. I really like what you say about the meaning of artworks. When did I realize that? It's hard to say when I realized that. That's a tough one. So, I spent like 6 months thinking about those questions that I answer in my my painting video that I just did, and goodness, I pretty much just spent most of the time writing down random ideas that I would think about, and then I just spent a few extra days like really kind of articulating them. And so I guess that's I don't know. I have no idea. What's the name of the mechanical pencil and where can I get one? It's in the description of the live stream. Can I redraw the chibis? Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Debbie. All right, now the pens that I'm using are the Staedtler pigment liner. Let's see, where to even begin? I guess I'll start with the outline. So my plans are for this when I'm done. So I'm not going to color it yet. I'm not going to color it for Inktober. So once I have everybody drawn as chibis, once I have the whole family drawn here, I'll take a really nice photo of it and turn it into line art. So, and then I'll upload that so everybody can download it and color it any way that they want. Oh, thank you, Sally. I really appreciate that. It seems like a lot of people got sidetracked during that video or something. I don't know what it is, but I appreciate the compliment. I'll be honest. I was a little anxious about it. I wasn't sure how it would be received, so I'm really grateful for the compliment. Oh, I'm glad you like the idea of the coloring. Yeah, I thought that'd be a fun thing to do. I am sorry, Nugget, that eye is not exactly round. I gave Nugget a lumpy eye. Let's see. Yeah, I thought about having a little conversation about the painting, but probably not today. Keep the try to keep the Inktober live streams PG, I guess. Alright, this is just the foundational inking. So I'll do like a fine tuning after this. And then that will be it. And I don't know who I'll be drawing tomorrow. But tomorrow's live stream is going to happen around noon my time, and I know for most of you in the US that is going to be way too early. That would be 6 a.m. Eastern time. So unless you're waking up at 5 o'clock like me, you might miss it, or you might at least miss the beginning of it. What is the emblem on my hoodie? So this is what is there, and so this is not going to be an easy story for me to talk about. So very few of you know this, but last year, actually exactly, so last year on October 1st, a terrible tragedy occurred to my family, and I got the news about an hour before I needed to live stream for Inktober. My sister called me, and I had found out that my brother-in-law had suddenly passed away. And it still is a very painful subject. He was a baseball player. He loved baseball. And his number was 27. So we have a baseball with the wings and his number in it. And it's a hoodie that the whole family, honestly, the whole family is probably wearing this hoodie today because it is the 1 year anniversary, though it's not really something you want to anniversarize, but it's certainly something we won't ever forget. And so I'm wearing this in remembrance of him, and I'll probably wear it for most of the month. So how has life been? I haven't been around for a month. Well, you actually couldn't really have been around for about a month because I haven't been live streaming for about 2 months. Um, life has been fun. It's been a stressful time, to be honest with you. Like the past couple months have been kind of stressful. Not for any particular reason, but just just life, I guess. But my wife and I, we went on a vacation to Amsterdam, which was a wonderful experience, and we both had a lot of fun. And the museums were just magnificent. Um, Other than that, not really a whole lot going on, to be honest with you. So what I was doing there, this is my kneaded eraser, and I don't scrub because that smears the ink. So what I do is I roll it, because at any one time, the surface is touching it and then lifting off. So I roll it, and then I use a normal rubber eraser to erase the pencil. But I only do this after I am sure the ink is dried from using the kneaded eraser. Yes, I did go to the Van Gogh Museum, but I have to say that in comparison to the Rakes Museum, the Van Gogh Museum is not a mandatory visit. Um, I liked Van Gogh's work, but I found his story to be much more interesting. And but I could have stood at the Rakes Museum and just looked at 3 pieces of work from Vermeer and Rembrandt, and I would have been, I would have could have spent a week there just staring at their work. Um, it was it was eye opening, and it was an experience that uh, honestly, it is an experience that changed my life. Being there and seeing their work in person, because it doesn't compare to seeing it in photos. Not even close. What is it that you are now doing? Um, Not sure. Not sure. What am I doing now? I mean, I'm doing Inktober. Aside from that, not a whole lot. Yeah, the art is. Oh my goodness, the art in the Rakes Museum is just beyond words. It's just incredible. Beyond words. I actually, the oil painting that I had finished recently, as in yesterday, I literally had, I had to change it after, um, I had to change it after I got back from my trip to Amsterdam, because I was like, I cannot leave it as it is, because after seeing their work, I now I now know absolutely for a fact that there is not a medium in the world that can compete with oil paint. Oil paint has already always been my all-time favorite medium, and I always said that there's no medium that can compete with the magnificence of oil paint. And I thought that I knew, like, just how wonderful it could look. I thought that I knew how great oil paint could look. And then I went to the Rakes Museum and I really found out, that's when I really found out how amazing oil paint can look. And so now I know for sure that you can't compete. There's no medium that can compete with oil paint. It's not even close. It's not even close. You're working on your first oil, but with the yellow linseed oil, everything is so dark. How do you deal with that? Um, well, there's a lot of different techniques with oil paint, and look, I don't know them all. I'm not even close to knowing them all. It's such a vast medium of technical ideas and possibilities that I'm not even close to mastering that medium. But when the way that I work with oil is I leave using the mediums like linseed oil or any other type of oil. I leave that for the glazing period near the end. So I usually work rather thin in the beginning. So no oil is added. I'll actually add thinner in the beginning, and I'll keep my paint thinner, and that it dries it faster. And then once I get those layers down and I have basically the foundation of what the painting's going to look like, but it's rather dull. It doesn't have that vibrancy that oil has. That's when I come back with the oil mediums. And I use linseed oil, but I've never had an issue with it being yellow. That sounds like a problem with the brand or something. But as far as everything being dark, oil paint, different colors and different brands and everything, they'll dry differently. So you have to work with it a little bit, and you have to do several layers to kind of get the right values that you want. And then with experience, you'll have less struggle with that. Because I know, what was it? There was a certain color that I was working with on my oil painting that I wasn't expecting to dry so different than when I applied it. I think it was like a yellowish ochre color that felt like it turned more to yellow as it dried. So I would apply it, and it was just kind of like a nice tone of yellow. But then a week later, when it was dry, it would be just much too yellow, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's way too yellow. And so I had to adjust my mixture and repaint it like 5 times in order for it to look right. What are my thoughts on paleo art? I have no idea, unfortunately. I don't know anything about it. I do like dinosaurs, though. Dinosaurs are awesome. Dinosaurs was one of the first subjects that I was drawing when I would have been 6 at the time. I was drawing other things at 6, but dinosaurs, I enjoyed drawing dinosaurs when I was 6. And that's right around the time when I started getting serious or more serious about drawing. Oh, thank you, Steve, for that quick reminder for everyone to give the live stream a thumbs up. And please, if you are enjoying the live stream, if you're new to my channel, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's live stream, because I'll be live streaming tomorrow as well. And I'd love to see you all again. I'm going to just finish up the last bit of inking here, just doing some fine tuning, cleaning up the lines a little bit, and then that is going to be all there is for today's live stream. So if you have any last questions for me, ask them real quickly before I call it a day, and I'll do my best to answer them before I go. What brand of oils did I use? Shinhan. Shinhan? That sounds right. It sounds right, but it also sounds wrong. Hold on a second. Yeah, I was right. Yeah, Shinhan oil pastel, or oil paint. Will I post a schedule thingy of what time you're live streaming tomorrow? So I usually don't fully decide what time I'm going to live stream tomorrow until after I finish the day's live stream, but I'll schedule out the live stream for tomorrow right after I finish streaming, and then you'll but it will be 12 o'clock my time, which would be 6 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, or 11 o'clock UK time, or something along those lines. Spell it Shin Han oil. There. Paleo art is exactly drawing dinosaurs. Oh, okay. Try drawing a dinosaur. I could maybe do a dinosaur sometime. I haven't drawn a dinosaur in a really really long time. That would be kind of fun. Alrighty, I'm gonna try to erase. I have some more graphite that I still feel like I see it here. Try to clean up the graphite a little bit. Do I miss my locks? No, I do not. They were so heavy. Oh goodness, they were so heavy, and it's so nice to just be able to wash my hair like whenever I want, and then also be able to go to sleep after I wash my hair without waking up with a wet pillow, even with a towel. So it's really really nice not to have them anymore. And there has not been a single day in which I've missed my locks. All right, I am going to call this done. And then whoever I draw tomorrow, they'll just be kind of around me or whatever, and I'll just continue to make the family appear on this page. Last question, when was the last time you ate something not vegan, and did you go into convulsions? Well, the last time I ate something that was not vegan was before I was vegan. And that would have been like July 3rd of 2009. July 3rd, 2009. And it most likely would have been milk, or yeah, maybe milk. Could have been eggs. I don't know what it was. Could have been cheese. I have no idea. But July 3rd, 2009 was the last day that I did not eat, or the last day I ate something that was not vegan. And so for the past 10 years, there's never been a slip up. Not once in the last 10 years. There was a couple occasions where I was served non-vegan food, but I could smell it. I could smell it. There's this one restaurant slash store that I go to every time I visit United States. It's called Dover Healthy, and they have vegan tacos. And I think she's a co-owner, but I know the owner too. I know the owner slash co-owner, and so I always go there every single time. Every single time I visit, I have to go there and get tacos, and of course I get them vegan, and I always have to emphasize the vegan sour cream. Well, the last time I went, or maybe some time ago or whatever, the tacos came out and everything seemed fine, but the sour cream was not vegan. Now, I didn't check the sour cream, but I had put it on my taco, and I could tell as soon as I put it on my taco and I brought the taco up, I could smell it. And I knew that it wasn't vegan. And so before I took a bite of it, I asked the waitress if they had got a new brand. And it was a year before I had these tacos. So I had them a year ago, and then I had them the following year. And so an entire year had passed since I had had the tacos. And as soon as I brought it up, I could smell it, and I knew something was wrong. And so when I asked the waitress if they got a new brand of vegan sour cream, and she said no, it's always been it's the same brand. And I said, I don't think this is vegan sour cream. She took it back to the cook and asked if it was vegan sour cream, and it wasn't. It was just normal sour cream. So I could smell it. And then there was another time, oh goodness, I don't know when it was or something, but after a period of time, you just know these things. You do. I have this friend, he's been vegan for like 15 years, and I don't know what he had. He was telling me this story because we were sharing stories about times where we were served non-vegan stuff, and we just have like this extra sense, like vegan superpowers, and we just knew. And yeah. Anyways, that question took longer than I thought to answer. But anyways, I hope you guys had fun today. I had fun, and I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. Again, don't forget to give the live stream a thumbs up and a share. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. But that is going to be it for today. Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Peace.